Welcome everyone to this section of the course on Matplotlib. Visualizing data is crucial to quickly understanding trends and relationships in your dataset, and Matplotlib is one of the most popular libraries for plotting with Python. Matplotlib is sometimes known as the grandfather of all the plotting and visualization libraries for Python, and that's specifically because so many other visualization libraries are built directly off of Matplotlib. And this includes very popular libraries like Seaborn, as well as Panda's own built-in visualization capabilities. Now we're going to be learning about Seaborn later on, but it's important that we first learn Matplotlib. Now keep in mind that Matplotlib is heavily inspired by plotting functions of the MATLAB programming language. If you're already familiar with MATLAB, learning Matplotlib will actually feel very natural. And what's really important about Matplotlib is it allows for the creation of almost any plot type with heavy customization. Now this ability to heavily customize a plot does come at a trade-off for beginners, since it can be confusing to first try to learn the Matplotlib syntax, especially since it has so many details that you can actually customize and tweak. But I think one of the main confusions that happens for beginners when they're trying to learn Matplotlib for the first time is that there's actually two completely separate approaches to creating plots with Matplotlib. And a lot of people, when they're first teaching it or first learning it, the distinguishing difference there isn't clear. And so what we're really going to try to do here is ease you into Matplotlib and clearly distinguish these two methods, which is one, the functional-based method calls, and the other one is the object-oriented programming or OOP-based method calls. So this Matplotlib section seeks to clear up any confusion by clearly separating out these two approaches, where we're first going to cover Matplotlib basics, which is the functional method calls, and then we'll move on to the more advanced Matplotlib figures and subplots, which is the OOP method. Keep in mind, both methods can often produce the same types of plots, but as you become more and more skilled with Matplotlib, you'll probably find yourself leaning more towards the advanced Matplotlib figures and subplots. So the topics covered in this entire section is we'll first talk about Matplotlib basics and the function calls you can create. Then we'll move on to object-oriented programming methods with Matplotlib, specifically the Matplotlib figures object. Then we'll talk about subplots for multiple plots right next to each other. And then we'll talk about things like styling, changing your line width, characteristics, markers, colors, etc. Basically customizing your plot so it looks exactly the way you want it to. Then after all of this, we'll have some exercise questions and solutions. Keep in mind that specialized plot types such as histograms won't be covered with Matplotlib for this particular section of the course, since we're actually going to later learn how to use Seaborn to easily create those statistical plots. It is important to learn Matplotlib first though, since Seaborn builds directly off of Matplotlib. So another mistake I see beginners make when they're first learning about plotting with Python is they jump directly to a library like Seaborn, which, while it's super easy to use, and you'll notice that Seaborn just has these one-line commands to create really nice looking plots, if you ever want to customize those plots, you will need to refer back to Matplotlib. So it's really important to first understand Matplotlib and then continue your learning into Seaborn. I think that's the correct order you should be taking here, and so that's the order we take in this course. Now throughout this section, we're going to be referencing the excellent Matplotlib online documentation, and that includes the matplotlib.org website, as well as the gallery of example plots and codes at matplotlib.org/gallery.html. Now, the two main goals with Matplotlib, basically the goals for the end of this section, is for you to be able to do two main tasks. One is to be able to plot out a functional relationship that is something like plot out the equation y equals 2x, or to be able to plot out a relationship between raw data points. So if someone gave you two arrays, x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and y is equal to 2, 4, 6, 8, essentially the same relationship shown above in the equation, then you'd be able to plot it either way, either with the equation or the data points. All right, let's get started.